WandaVision. We are talking episodes 4 through 6. How are you guys digging this show? Keeps changing every week, as it should, I guess.
Oh man, I don't think that I don't think that anybody that had anything bad to say about episode 1 can say anything bad anymore.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all. I never got that. I really didn't. Those first 2 episodes when they were released, I dug them because I knew there was more episodes coming, and I just was shocked by so many who jumped the gun and were like, this is not good.
It was a very slow burn. I think I said that the last time we were talking about.
Sure.
It's like, it was a very slow burn at first, and now it's just like, it's a bonfire, and you're like,
oh, it's crazy.
What else is going to happen?
Right, and every time it like, oh my god, this is so good. Please stand by. Like, fuck.
I know.
Damn it. Yeah, I after we talked about the first 3 episodes, I was watching. I think I was watching the 4th one at the time, and my kids were like, "What are you watching?" And I told them, and then they're like, "Well, can you start from the beginning?" I was like, "All right." They really dug the first couple episodes. I mean, they like all of it, but they really liked the beginning because it's written very well, like a sitcom that could have existed, and it's kind of family friendly, but obviously it's getting darker. But they're actually digging it too, and I think that's very special, because I didn't, on its own, if you didn't know the characters, like they actually want to see the characters now outside of the show, and I'm like, all right, let me think of some movies I can show you. But yeah, they have all kinds of questions. It's really pretty cool, actually. But yeah, episode 4 is, we interrupt this program. We get Monica Rambeau coming back from the blip, if you will. It's kind of like a dark side of the blip. We got to see people come back in Spider-Man Far From Home from the blip, comical. This is very dark. Like, she wakes up in a hospital and people are just going apeshit. You got a dude saying, I need to call my wife. He hasn't talked to her in like 5 years. And yeah, then you get the heartbreaking news that her mom passed. It was like 2 years before she came back, I guess.
She was like talking to the nurse, and it's like, yeah, your mom's been dead for like 3 years or something. It really hit me because it was like, we hadn't really seen anybody coming, like you said, coming back from, the blip, so to speak. So,
right. Wasn't actually addressed.
Like we got to see like the chaos of everything that would be unfolding, and
I mean, it's crazy.
I think you get to kind of see what some people thought, what their thought process was while everybody was gone, and then when they came back, it was just kind of like, well, what do we do now?
Yeah, I mean, I think they explored that with Endgame, like, fans did, not the movie itself, but it's like, you imagine, like, where's your house at? Where's everybody? Like, your spouse could have got remarried. Like, for instance, Spider-Man Far From Home, his teacher's wife, like, faked her disappearance. She just left him. So, yeah, that was...
and even Aunt May said there was somebody else living in her apartment when she came back.
Oh, right. Yeah, definitely.
They were looking at her like, what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of darkness there. Like, I think we talked about it in the group chat. I was like, you imagine if you're in an airplane and you just reappear in the sky? I mean, I think MCU has, like, lovey-dovey said, like, well, you'll be on the ground when you come back. You won't be up there. But let's say you weren't. That would really suck. It's like, we're back. Holy shit. Just fall, thousands of feet. Welcome back. Yeah. But the hospital definitely, this scene really amped up, like, the stakes of coming back. And, she's like she ran into a dude who came back too. And yeah, so you get reacquainted with her, with, the world. And she's a sword agent. So her mom founded that, we come to learn. And she's been assigned to this missing persons case, and we get to meet Jimmy Woo from Ant-Man and the Wasp. I love the card trick, throwback there.
Yes.
That was awesome because that's what Scott was showing him, right? Or he was asking Scott, "How you do that?"
Yeah,
I love that.
It's just like I love like just the little callbacks they do like that.
Yeah,
and it's just like it's kind of one of those blink and you'll miss it kind of things, but you had to have watched the movies to really get what that was about.
Right, yeah, like all these characters, like they've been like planted, their seeds have been planted, and it's like they come back and it's like, oh, you remember exactly last time, what they were doing, or that was such a, and he actually did that trick. Like, I think he did it. It took a couple takes, he said, but he actually did that trick, the card trick, and
Yeah.
that was such a cool scene. I love seeing that, and I love his character. It's just like effortless with him. He's just so good at the humor. It's not too corny. It's just right. You really like the character. I mean, people want a spinoff series already of the guy, and he's only been in a movie in a couple episodes now, but it just shows you, there's just a lot of cool characters. They brought, Darcy back, which was great. I hadn't seen her since the Dark World, Thor: The Dark World, and I love the character. Yeah.
I was really surprised because, like, watching the Marvel movies and everything like that, before WandaVision came out, I went back and I like binge watched the rest of, the MCU movies and everything. And I'm like, she's the most useless character. Like, they didn't do anything with her
Right,
whatsoever.
yeah.
And then she comes back and she's got like a doctorate and she's like,
Mhm.
A super genius and everything. I'm like, wow, they're actually doing something with this character now. That's awesome.
Yeah, she cracked the code. She got they're like, hey, get me a TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a crazy world. Like, I don't think we still know what's going on, and I like it. It's, you don't want to figure it out too soon.
Oh, yeah.
We get to on a very special episode. Yeah, I love the intros. They did a Family Ties intro for this episode 5. The kids had a growth spur. That was interesting. I like the when they were babies. That was a nice touch when they put the binkies in. They just spit them out, and it's like, yep, that's parenthood.
Yeah, exactly. They did a lot of cool things with that episode. Like, they were kind of starting to break down the walls of
Yes.
this, pristine world that they're in. Like, you can't have a dog until you're 10, and then all of a sudden it's just like, whoop, they're 10 years old.
Right, and they do it in front of Agnes. They do it in front of Agnes.
Yeah.
That's a new thing.
She's just kind of like, oh, that's normal. And Vision's kind of like, well, what the hell?
Yeah, I like that
What
he's on
happened?
to her. He was like, where did Geraldine go? Oh, she had to leave. And he already started getting suspicious there. But yeah, this
just like breaking down the walls of everything that's going on.
Right.
The one thing that I want to know more about with episode 5, when they're showing Monica Rambeau and she's trying to kind of like figure out everything, and
Mhm.
she came back at the end of, was it the end of episode 4 or the end of episode 5? She came back. She got ejected from Westview.
Yeah, it was during episode 4, I believe. She came back. Yeah, because they brought us up to speed. She vanished, and then they figured out how to watch the television. And they found out she had been had, and then they get that alert, and then she's thrown out, and then they're all like, "What the hell is going on?"
I really want to know, and I think they'll probably touch on this later, but she made reference to like Captain Marvel in this episode.
Yep.
And she's kind of like, no, I don't want anything to do with her.
Right, yeah.
Like, okay.
I found that very interesting.
Maybe like Captain Marvel's exposure to her mom caused the cancer or something.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
I mean, I don't know.
That's possible.
Little things I kind of think of, but
that's a good. I never thought of that. That's a good point. Wow.
But the other big thing with this is the commercial with episode 5. So every commercial they've had is kind of like had a little Easter egg in it for Wanda's past. And episode 5 was for Lagos paper towels. And the tagline was, when you make a mess that you didn't mean to.
Oh, sure. Yep.
I do remember that.
So it was like, it's kind of like, oh, is she doing all this because she feels guilty for causing the Civil War and all that stuff?
Right.
Like, what's going on in her head kind of thing. But yeah, we also find out from Monica that this is all being done by Wanda.
Yeah, it's all
there's
Wanda.
There's nothing, there's no Hydra behind it or anything like that. It's all Wanda's doing.
Right. And I think that's her perspective, because I really think something else is happening. I think Wanda's doing some of it, but like when Vision brings that dude out of the trance, his coworker, and he's freaking out. And he just says, she's in my head. She's in my head. And I'm like, well, I think that's just a clever misdirect because he's not saying her name. So I think someone else is helping out. And I really do think it's Agnes. A lot of people think she's Agnes, the witch from the comics. Agatha.
Agatha. Yeah, Agatha Harkness.
Yes. I kind of think there's something there with that. I mean, she's a really good actress, so she could definitely pull that off, I think, being a villainess. Yeah, I don't think it's all Wanda, but I think most of it is, or she's being controlled. It's, very...
Being manipulated somehow.
Right. Like, when she went and got Vision's body, for instance, like, that just feels so out of left field, like she was driven by another force to do that. Because
they showed her. They showed her breaking into a sword facility, and Vision was just torn apart, pretty much.
Right. Yeah.
And she broke in there, and was like throwing people around and everything like that. It kind of seemed like she was in a trance or something.
Yes.
Or just, completely just batshit insane.
Right. Like she was in that. She was in the hex, and then she created a hex. So it's kind of like a multiple layers of hex going on. It looks like. It's just so intriguing. Like, I just love every episode. It's like, it keeps you guessing, like, what the hell's going on? In this episode, you find out Vision doesn't remember anything of his past life. He just knows that his name's Vision and he's got these powers, but he doesn't know anything else. Yeah. And
he actually got kind of pissed off.
Yeah. And scared. He said he's scared. And when they both rise up, I'm like, oh shit.
Frightened. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Right. Yeah, he's just kind of going with it, and then he gets broken out of that trance or whatever, and because he's a highly intellectual being, so he's starting to question everything. And definitely when he picks up the transmission from Sword, through the Apple II computers he sets up, or whatever type of computer that was in the office. Yeah, definitely suspicious. And then, the dog dies, and I guess it ate Agnes's plants, but I don't know if that's what happened exactly. Kind of think Agnes just did something.
It kind of seemed like, I mean, we never really saw the dog. She just had it wrapped up in a blanket.
Right.
And then Wanda's like, kids, don't age up. Like, you have to learn to deal with death.
Yes.
Like, you can't just suppress everything that, everything bad that happens to you. And
right.
He kind of moved on from it.
Exactly. Yeah. And then they were like, have you ever brought anybody back? Or Agnes was like, can you do that? And then Vision steps in. So yeah, something's definitely strange happening. Like, because from Sword's perspective, she clearly brought him back to life somehow, but yet she's telling her kids she can't bring, the dog back, and you have to accept death. So it's like, well, unless she's just not practicing what she preaches, but something tells me there's something more going on. Like, she was kind of just,
Well, and she even, I think it was towards the end of episode 4, she even saw like Vision with the big hole in his head and like,
yes,
looking all black, like black and white kind of.
Which just amps up the creepiness, because you're like, his corpse is just floating around this whole time, probably.
Yeah.
And it's just disguised. Like, oh, that's just so creepy. Like, what else is happening? Like, is there any other corpses in this town, or is it just Vision? Like, it's just, it just keeps unfolding, and I love it, because it's just, your mind's not made up yet. You kind of have an idea what's happening, but yet you don't. And, just when you think you're understanding it, they throw a freaking curveball at you, and Pedro shows up at your door.
Yeah,
right.
I was crazy. Yes,
and I love I loved Kat Dennings' line in this episode. She's just like, they recast Pietro.
Yes,
like she's the only one that knows that, like,
right,
he's not, the original Pietro.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's Evan Peters, who was Fox's version of Quicksilver. That was super cool. I was like, wow, because they own everything now, and it makes sense. But yeah, then it's just more confusion, right? Because you're like, is he an X-Men? What's going on here? Is it just they're just messing with us? Probably, like, hey, we can use this actor now, because she even doesn't recognize him from the looks of it, and then he's like, you gonna give your brother a hug?
Yeah. Well, and he's just totally different, personality wise,
Yes.
everything like that. It's like the cool uncle that shows up on sitcoms now and then and causes trouble for everybody.
Right. And she said, she told Vision, before she opened the door, she's like, I didn't do that. I promise. I didn't do that. And of course, Vision's at a state where it's like, I can't really trust you. Like, I don't know what's true anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well,
she didn't do it for sure.
They're even having this argument while the credits are rolling.
That was funny. Yes. Yeah. She made some strong point and then she rolled the credits.
Yeah.
He's like, nope.
He's like, no, wait a second. No.
You even had the audience clap and
yeah, it was like, no, wait a second. No, we're not done with this yet.
Not done.
He's just completely shattering the fourth wall. He's like, no, that's not it. But
that's what's so brilliant about it. Every episode has played it straight, but they've also broken the fourth wall many times.
Yeah.
The tone's shifted and the aspect ratios have changed. Sometimes you don't spot it, but they're definitely changing. They're going widescreen at spots, and then your television format.
It's another one of those little subtle changes you have to just kind of pay attention to.
Right. There's so many Easter eggs. It's crazy. There's just so much artistry in it. That's what I really appreciate about it. And I think that's what I really loved a lot about the first two episodes, aside from it dragging a bit, but I really liked the investment they did with, trying to actually make a sitcom, like the 50s and 60s. And yeah, and it's just it just keeps evolving. Right. So, you get into the all new Halloween Spooktacular episode we just got, and you get a Malcolm in the Middle type of intro. We're into the 2000s now.
I'm excited and I want more, but I heard that the next 3 episodes or the final episodes rounding out are all going to be an hour apiece.
Good.
So finally, I'm not screaming at the TV when it's over.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I just start getting into the meat of things and then bloop, it's done.
Well, this Halloween episode sure does get into a lot of meat. I mean, and the costumes are so cool. They get to actually dress like their counterparts in the comics. That's the only way you could get away with it if you put it in the kind of a setting like this. It's pretty genius, I think.
But I think the fact that you see Vision basically start to shred away, means that this is her therapy, and we won't get a Vision after this unless they can figure out how to get the Infinity Stone back. But what I don't understand is how, because it looks like he took her body, or she took his body, the dismantled body, and somehow placed the Infinity Stone back into his body. So I don't know how that works.
Right.
That's yet to be explained. And if she can project that,
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that he was powered by the Mind Stone. Her powers came from the Mind Stone. I think she's the only one who could, piece him back together and make him animate.
Yeah. I think so too.
Yeah.
They did a nice callback to Young Avengers with this one though, with the kids. They gave them actual powers. So in Young Avengers, Wanda and Vision have kids, or twins, and they become members of the Young Avengers named Speed and Wiccan. Who basically have, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch's powers. So they kind of did a callback to that. So it's kind of I don't know if they're going to expand on this or if she's going to end up creating mutants.
Right.
Or something like that with the whole hex thing that she does. And
because there's the House of M storyline, right? Where she tells the world, forget about mutants, or there is no more mutants, or something like that. Obviously it's going to be a variation of that if they do go that route.
They did a lot of that, a lot of building with Pietro's character in this too. It was just kind of what happened to your accent? Well, what happened to yours?
Right.
It was everything's just, he's I was full of holes and then I heard you calling to me and here I was. They didn't really I don't know. She like sees a vision of him with like bullet holes in him and everything like that.
Yeah, so, like a dead version, like Vision in a way. Yeah, it was him. Yeah. And it was his face, so it wasn't which they did show oh gosh, the other person who played Quicksilver, they did show him in like a flashback in the beginning of the episode. So they definitely didn't shy away from showing you like there was a different actor who played Quicksilver. That's why she's confused, like, who the hell is this guy? He looks like my brother, but something's off. Is my brother's powers. Yeah, and there was that flashback when they were kids. It was like a very stereotypical Russian neighborhood, whatever. They got like a fish for trick-or-treating or something. It was just so over the top. And she's like, I don't remember it that way. One quick thing, when she brought the Stark Industries probe, they had to use 80s tech to go into the world. It was the episode before, and Wanda brought it out. Did you guys catch that her accent is back?
Yes.
Yeah. I like that.
Like as soon as she steps out,
Yep.
Yeah, like outside of the Hex, she's like back to talking like a Sokovian again.
Well, because in the movies, it gradually was going away. It was very thick in Ultron. Civil War, not as much. Probably Civil War is probably same as this show when she's in her actual.
It's.
But yeah, Infinity War, she totally didn't have the accent. It seemed it was totally gone.
Well, and even in Endgame, when she was confronting Thanos, she had a thick accent.
Right. Yeah,
and
that's right.
It's more of like when she's triggered by anger. It's her facade kind of drops, and
yes, that's a good point.
She's like, I'm not pretending anymore. I'm pissed off.
Right.
Kind of thing,
right. It looks like Hayward's like a massive dick all of a sudden. I kind of thought that was weird. I don't know if there's a shapeshifter going on, but
I kind of get where he was coming from though, because he had that whole thing of like, the 5 years you guys were gone, we had to do what we had to do to keep the lights on.
True. Yep.
Like we had to survive without, half the Avengers gone and everybody else in our lives being gone. We had to do what we had to do to keep everything going. And then he sees, this person come back from the blip and create this huge problem for all of.
Yeah.
And then
that makes sense.
Like kind of his, I felt like kind of at the end of the episode, his fears kind of became realized.
Right.
Because, she, Vision crawls out of the bubble and he starts falling apart. And he's like, help me. And
that was hard to watch.
Yeah.
I was like,
and
damn.
Then she freaks out. She blasts Pietro. She starts expanding the bubble and it just like sucks everybody into it.
Right.
So it's kind of like, oh man.
Yeah, like the agents turn into clowns and Darcy gets sucked in because they handcuffed her to a Jeep right by the perimeter. And I like how she's like, oh, fuck, right when it takes her. It's so Darcy. And there was a quick shot of a carriage or something. And I wonder if that's she's inside that carriage.
Yeah, it was like the vans and everything. Like one of the vans became like a ice cream truck.
Yes.
And it looked like it was a carnival kind of thing.
Yep. Exactly.
But they also did with Monica. They looked at her medical records.
Right.
And it looked like after she came back out of the Hex, she was altered.
Yes.
So maybe she'll become like some sort of superhero. I don't really know too much about Monica Rambeau from the comics, but I think she eventually at one point became a Captain Marvel.
Yes, Photon was another character. She was, I think, maybe recently they made her into Captain Marvel, just an easy way to make her popular, I guess. But yeah, Photon's another character. I think was her character before Captain Marvel. Yeah. So yeah, it definitely is going that route with her. I like that because I already knew she's powerful in the comics. I didn't know if she already was or she had yet to become that way. So, it's very interesting. That whole world's crazy, when Vision's going on the outskirts and it's just like window dressing, but the people aren't really doing anything. It's a creepy image of that lady and her husband. They keep doing the same motion and you see like a tear go down her face and it's like, oh man, it's gotta be torture. Like and then you see, it's so creepy.
It's kind of like the farther that Vision got away from the square, or whatever, the central part of the city, everyone was just like kind of motionless and just kind of like a mannequin in a shop window.
Exactly. Yes. Yep. It's like strings are being pulled. They're puppets, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except they're totally still. I think the further he gets, right, they're just standing there. They're not even doing anything.
And that's what makes me think that Agnes has something more to do with it, because she was the only one that wasn't, motion. She was like, "How do I get to the square from here?"
Right.
And it's like, well, you've lived in this town your entire life. You don't know how to get there.
Yeah, exactly.
He revives her, and she kind of goes nuts, and he puts her back into a trance, and I don't know. I think there's a lot that's yet to be dealt with this, but
something's going on with her.
Like, it's kind of like the further they get into the series, the more I'm like 30 minutes isn't enough.
No, right, and it's like Mitch said, they're hour long for the last 3 episodes, hopefully. So that's and there's like when she got out of the trance, she like grabbed her chest, and she always had that necklace. So that's another indication she's that
Agatha Harkness.
Yes. So that's got to be what's happening. But maybe somehow Wanda put her under a spell too. I don't know, but it was very weird. And then she's screaming at Vision, "You're dead! You're dead!" Kind of like RoboCop, like, "We killed you! You're dead!" And he didn't know who the Avengers were. So you definitely are like, wow, he really doesn't know who he is. He just knows that his name's Vision. He's got these powers, and he's onto something. Yeah.
It was almost like she brought him back with the purpose of not having him remember any of the pain of his death or being attacked by the Black Order or anything like that.
Exactly.
Like, she just wanted a husband, or just wanted him for herself, kind of thing.
Right. It's like it's like what Vision wanted when they were in I can't remember what country they were in Infinity War, where he just asks her to stay. Yeah,
exactly. So it's kind of like she's stretching out this one moment of happiness they had over months.
Exactly.
So
and then of course when she stops expanding, credits again. Credits. Real quick, what do you think? Who do you think Monica's contact is? They're meeting up with. You think it's Hawkeye?
So, I think from what I remember of the episodes, like, there was one contact that she said that was an expert in astrophysics.
Yes.
So that made me think of Reed Richards.
Oh, dude.
But I think the person that developed this vehicle or something like that, like, you can see it in like some of the trailers. It's like this big tank looking thing that goes into the side of the barrier.
Right.
So I think the person that she was going to meet at the end of this episode was somebody different.
Right.
Because I don't know, maybe or maybe not, but I could see her reaching out to like maybe somebody that works with like Stark Industries or something like that, trying to figure this out, or maybe she even reaches out to Hank Pym.
Right.
And I mean, this series is going to excuse me. This series is going to like go into, Multiverse of Madness.
Yes, it's opening up so many things. Yep.
All that other stuff. So I could see her reaching out to somebody like, Hank Pym or something like that, and being like, "Hey, I've got this problem. How do I get in here undetected?"
Yeah.
Maybe.
But that would be so cool, Reed Richards, if that was Reed Richards. Like, wow, it's a way to set up things. They already did talk about Hayward when he was talking about some of their astronauts and stuff. That could have been the Fantastic Four he's referring to. Like, there's all that possibility, but and
if we get a cameo from John Krasinski.
Yes, I was just gonna say that I want him to be Reed Richards so bad. Like, make that happen. That people would lose their shit. I don't think he's got anything going on. I know he does Jack Ryan, but Yeah, that would be so cool if it was him and maybe his wife playing, Sue.
Yeah,
I don't know, dude.
I think he wanted. I think he wanted his wife to play Sue Storm, but I don't know.
I've seen the artwork for it. It looks great. I mean, I know it's fan art, but when I saw that, I was like, this has to happen. You have to make this happen. It looks great.
Oh yeah.
Like, come on.
But
yeah, that would be a treat, man.
We'll see. I mean,
I know.
We gotta think too, like Nick Fury at the end of Far From Home. He's on a ship basically with the Skrulls.
Right.
Or supposedly it's a sword ship. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been said that it's a sword ship anyway.
Sure.
I'll have to go back and look at it, see if there's any like icons or anything like that on it. But
of course, it could be Doctor Salvik. Who's in Selvig Thor movies? Is he astrophysics engineer dude or?
Yeah.
He might be too old. So. I don't know to want to get involved, but that's only. I'm just trying to think of all the ones out there who are that.
He was kind of like going crazy in Dark World too.
Yes, he was. Yeah,
like
they had fun with that.
He was giving a lecture with like his shoe off or something, and
running around naked and. Yeah, they need to bring him back. I don't know if it would be him or not, but yeah, watch it be someone we don't even know. It's like just a totally new character. We're just all let down. I don't know. It's gonna be. I'm excited, and I still don't know what's going on with their brother, Pedro. I don't know what that is. I don't think it's him, but yeah, something's really off. Like because he's really grilling her at times, and he knows what's up. Yeah. He's not fooled. So he's in on it. He's like a plant or something, you know.
Well, I think it gets into the multiverse thing. Like maybe the mutants will come from a multiverse.
Right.
Something like that.
I'm sure it's going to be quite something, quite a way to introduce it. And the other thing is, I mean, this is far, far away from now, but if they get into alternate versions of people, I know people have been saying like it would be cool if John Krasinski was Captain America in one of these worlds because he auditioned to be Captain America long ago. Yeah. So it would be kind of cool. He finally got to play him, but it's like a different Earth or something. Like they really could have fun with that. Just shuffle around the characters. I mean, they even said like Tom Cruise, Tony Stark, because Tom Cruise was going to be Iron Man a long, long time ago. They probably won't do that, but it would be cool just to see it. Yeah. Get 90s Tom Cruise. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I can't wait for the next episode. 3 more episodes. So yeah, we'll definitely talk about those once they all air. I'm excited. And we'll have Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think, coming soon after that. And then Hawkeye. And I'm not sure. Oh, Loki. Loki's coming sometime. I don't know right now off the top of my head. Loki looks like a trip too. So I like it though, man. This is a lot of world building happening. You get to see old characters, some new characters, and then it's just cool, the expansion of things. I think it's going to help keep the MCU going for a very long time. You know, that's something. That's something WB has to get behind. So we'll see, but we'll see. At least someone's doing it, right?
Yeah, exactly.